Greetings from School of Health Sciences for Certificate in Community Health. We are covering BNS 041 Block 1 Unit 4, that is Introduction to Epidemiology, Epidemiological Approaches and Processes. To discuss this topic, I welcome Mrs. Urmil Bhardwaj, Principal, College of Nursing, Jamia Hamdard University, and myself, Dr. Rita Devi. We will be covering about the epidemiological models of causation of disease. In this session, epidemiological model involves the disease has occurred. So, how the disease has occurred? It involves the causative factors, affected person, and the circumstances under which the disease occurred. In an outbreak of the disease, several factors often play a role, like cholera outbreak. Causative factor is the bacteria, that is Vibrio cholera. Transmitting medium is contaminated water or food, and an occasion where a large number of people gathered to take the food or drink from a common source, which may be contaminated by bacteria. The quantum of the bacteria ingested and the condition of the immune system of the person affected. These factors can be interrelated to each other, and absence of one factor or more factor may not lead the occurrence of disease. It is very important to understand here that there should be agent, host, and the environment in which the host lives. If these three interact with each other, then only the disease if will occur. In case the agent is not present, so then the disease may not occur. So you have to understand how the disease starts occurring. There should be agent, host, and the environment in which the both are living has to interact with each other, and there has to be imbalance of one or the other factor. Then it may lead to disease. I would like Madam to contribute on this aspect.
Agents are those which are causal for a disease condition. For example, for communicable diseases, the bacteria, rickettsia, fungi, pathogens, they are agents. The agent should be strong enough, meaning thereby that they should be able to cause the disease. They should not be weak. So agent should be there, the host should be susceptible. We know all of us are there, but everybody doesn't get tuberculosis. I know tuberculosis, you know that it is so much prevalent in our country. But we are breathing in the same environment, but everybody doesn't get this disease because the host may not be susceptible, meaning thereby that the immunity of that host may be better. So they can fight with the bacteria and come out without having a disease. But the susceptible host has to be there, and the environment which is conducive for causing the disease is there. So when there is an interaction of agent which is virulent enough to cause the disease, the host which is susceptible, and the environment like the moisture, temperature, air, all those things, whichever is the reason for that disease has to be there. So when they three interact with each other, then only you will get the disease. If one or another is not interacting, you will not get the disease. So there has to be, that is why we call it as a epidemiological triad. These three things has to be there interacting, and then the disease condition will take place. A newer concept is there that there is a advanced model epidemiological triad. In advance, there is a time frame also. If the bacteria is exposed for a lesser time, it may not cause the disease. It has to be there in the body for some time, then only it can cause the disease. So that is in advanced epidemiological triad, you will find the time frame is also written over there. If there is a balance between these three, the disease condition will not take place. So there has to be interaction, and they are not in balance. Then only one or other is in imbalance. Like the host is not having much of immunity. He is to be susceptible. The agent is virulent. So all those things has to be there, then only disease can take place. It is true for Although earlier we had been talking about epidemiological triad in communicable disease, but it is also true for non-communicable disease. There the agent may be your etiological factor. Host is always there, which has habit and lifestyle and things like that, and environment like sedentary lifestyle. So in non-communicable disease also the epidemiological triad is applied.
There are various agents which cause the disease. So would you highlight some of the agents?
Like agent, I already said, these are pathogens. They may be bacteria, they may be rickettsia, they can be fungi and things like this. And along with that, we have to understand that there are interaction with various elements around and they will interact with each other. So these agents will, not only these agents, there will be density of population, number of organism available in per cubic meter of air. If it is droplet infection or infection is caused by mode of transmission is respiratory tract. Similarly, for every disease there has to be an amount of agent, how much it is taken.
In case like occupational related agents are also there. Somebody is working in the area where lead is used, so person can be exposed to lead poisoning, or a patient can be exposed to, a person can be exposed to asbestosis if he is working in some asbestos as the agent is the leading cause.
And the amount of pollutant present in the air. It is a lesser amount of pollutant, it may not affect or it take a longer years to get the disease. But the amount of pollutant is more, the disease condition can be early and it can be very severe. So many factors are there to cause the disease and the severity of the disease.
Like in other diseases like disability, injury, or death situation, the agent may be chemical, such as poison.
Yes.
Physical factors such as cold, extreme colds or heat, radiation, nutritional deficiencies nowadays, and animal poison such as the bite of the snake. So these are also the agents which cause other injuries or disabilities. In epidemiology, the interaction, as madam was explaining, interaction of the various factors in the environment closely observed and studied so that we find out who is the agent, who is causing the disease, so that the necessary measures can be taken. And all the disease condition cannot be attributed to single causal agent, such as the myocardial infarction in case of heart attack, family history, sedentary lifestyle, smoking, alcohol consumption, obesity, high blood pressure, and high fatty acid diet. So when more than a single cause is present for the occurrence of the disease, this is also called as the multiple causation of the disease. So we can say agent as well as causal factors are responsible for the occurrence of the disease.
A host I already mentioned their own immunity level as well as the genetic makeup. Some diseases are more seen in some families which goes through, so their genetic makeup, their immune system as well as their lifestyle. How is host staying? Some diseases are more attracted for sedentary lifestyle. Stress, nowadays stress is very common among people. So how is host responding to a particular condition? Is it more stressed? More the stress he is, probably the disease condition will be more. And not only one, multiple diseases can come there. Their own way of living, way of thinking. So these age, particular some diseases are more prone in some diseases. Some diseases are seen in younger generation. So age, sex. Some diseases like hemophilia you will only see in males, where the female is a carrier. So sex, age, even educational levels also makes a difference, because if you are educated, you have a knowledge about particular disease, probably you can change your style, probably you can prevent that diseases. And in the environment, where are you living? Is it polluted, air pollution? Is the noise so much? Or are there any preventive measures? So many factors are there for the host to be susceptible for that particular disease condition. And environment plays a very important role. Where are you living? How much is the air polluted? What is the water? Is water potable or it is polluted? Where are you? Which zone of earth you are living in? What is the climatic conditions? Because some climatic conditions, like where mosquito breeding can be so much, like in Assam. So that environment is conducive for living of mosquitoes. So there you will have more of malaria, things like this. So these are all important as a environmental factors. And some people who live on a high Mediterranean areas, they will be prone to some other diseases. So in summary, I can say for environment, it is the air, water, the climatic zone you are there, the weather, so many factors are there which will decide the condition to be propagated, disease condition to be propagated or not.
Yes.
So that is important.
So in short, we can say for the occurrence of the disease, there has to be interaction between agent, host, and environment, and all of them have their different characteristics, which if one is imbalanced with the other, the disease will occur. This has to be, you have to be very, very clear about this concept of epidemiological triangle. Now, the concept of disease transmission. We have to understand who all are the agents who transmit the disease from one person to another. So, like first of all, the fomites. Fomites are non-living objects which play a role in the disease transmission. Like you must have, practiced these things in case of eye flu, which is a very, very contagious. And you avoid even seeing directly in the eyes of the person who has eye flu. If the person has used towel or handkerchief or anything used by that person, we try not to touch them. So these are the fomites which are present in the towels, drinking glasses, or the pen or pencil, even door handles, clothings, which can help in the transmission of the infection by being contaminated with the infectious agents and then touched and came in close contact with the another person. So fomites are very, very important. Then vector is the another factor which transmit the disease, like arthropods. You have one unit on vector control diseases separately, but you must know what are the vectors. They are the arthropods such as mosquitoes, housefly, fleas, or rodents such as rat, mouse, which is living non-human carrier of the disease that transports or serve the process of disease transmission. The vector carries the agent from the infected person or the animal, like housefly if sit on the open defecation, and from there it comes to the house and spread typhoid, salmonella typhi from the open defecation field to the food which has been kept uncovered in the house, and from there it whosoever will consume will affect by typhoid. So that is how the vectors play important role in transmission of the disease. Another important is the reservoir. Reservoir is the human or animal, plant, or it can be soil which is carrying these germs, can be food or feces in which the infectious organism live and multiply. Human being can serve both as reservoir as well as host. And another important in this aspect is the carrier. What is a carrier? Would you like to explain, ma'am?
Yeah, carriers are those people who do not have the disease condition, but they harbor the causative organism, meaning thereby they are not giving the sign and symptom of the disease, but they can give to others because they harbor the causative organism, the agent. So they don't suffer, but they will pass on the disease to others. So that is a carrier. Now you can have various types of carriers. First is incubatory carriers. Incubatory carriers are those who are in an incubation period. We know the incubation period is that from the time of entry of causative organism till the appearance of the disease condition, sign and symptom. So that time actually the person doesn't know he is having these disease organisms with him, and that is the time they will spread maximum. Because if the sign and symptom has appeared, then one will be careful. Okay, this person is like for example, measles. Once the fever and rashes has come, everybody knows that now it is measles. We should isolate. But before that, there is an incubation period. So during incubation period, it is the time they can give the disease to others. That is incubatory carriers. Second type is convalescent. Convalescent are those carriers who had the disease and now recovering from the disease. So they have recovered or recovering from the disease, but still they have the organisms and they have a capacity to spread the disease from one person to another. You might have seen in cases of chicken pox, the person has already recovered and those scabs are coming out. So those scabs are still having chicken pox virus, which they can always spread to another person. So that is a convalescent. They are recovered or recovering from the disease condition, but still have a capacity to spread the disease.
Typhoid is another example.
Typhoid is another example, and about 6 to 8 weeks they will excrete salmonella in their feces, and they can cause the disease in another person. There are healthy carriers also. These people never had disease, but they still can spread the disease. Very good example of this is typhus again, because this bacteria can go and stay in their gallbladder, and after a few years also they keep on excreting the salmonella. I already gave you the example of hemophilia. The female is a healthy carrier, but genetically they can pass on to next generation. They never suffer from disease, but they can be a genetically spreading the disease. So these are the healthy carrier who do not have the disease, who have never suffered the disease, who will never show the sign and symptom of disease, but they can always pass on to others for this disease.
One of the other example in healthy carrier is tubercle bacilli. It is present in all of us. Dormantly, it is hidden inside the body itself. So we are still, but we are healthy. And even if we are harboring the tubercle bacilli in our body, so how we will catch the infection? Only when my immunity gets lower. So from inside, within my body itself, I can catch tuberculosis infection because they are lying dormantly inside the body. So we are all healthy carrier of tubercle bacilli.
Yeah.
So
now, based on duration, you can also divide the carriers. They are temporary and chronic carriers. Temporary carriers are those which are incubatory convalescent. For some time, till they are sick or till they are excreting those pathogens, they are temporarily spreading the disease. So they are for a short period of a time, till their incubation period or till they are in a recovery phase, in convalescence. Once they had recovered completely, they are no more a carrier. On another hand, we have a chronic carrier as well. Like you must have heard of hepatitis B. People cannot donate blood because they will be chronically carrier of that hepatitis B virus. Similarly, you must have seen malaria people also, they screen and they see whether person had malaria. So they may be chronically carrying those pathogens and will be giving to others. So in community we have lot of these chronic carriers which are always a threat for spreading the disease and whom we don't even know that they are carrier. We don't know. So that is the problem, and they continuously excrete this kind of pathogens and they are able to spread the disease to a greater extent.
In chronic carrier, again the patient suffering with tuberculosis, even he has completed his treatment or he has left irregular in their treatment, they can also, maybe symptoms are not there, but they keep on spreading the disease throughout their life, even because they could not continue their treatment for a duration which is required, and they could not get cured of the disease, but they remain in the community with others and they keep on spreading the bacilli in the community. So these are the chronic carriers which you have to immediately understand that they are the major source of transmission of the infectious diseases in the community. The another concept, we have learnt about the various modes of transmission of the disease. Now, how the disease gets transmitted, mode of disease transmission. So, how the disease actually transmitted from one person to another. So, there are several methods of transmission of the agent to the host, from one host to the next host, or exit from the host to infect the another susceptible host, which may be an animal or human being. It is dependent upon the infectious agent, as we have discussed already also, that it depends upon the infectious agent, how infectious it is, or it also depends upon the immunity of the host, whether he is having lower immunity and the agent is very hostile at that moment. So immediately there will be interaction and the disease may occur. So to understand how the disease is transmitted, there are various methods of this transmission. One is the direct transmission. You have to understand what is direct transmission. The person to person transmission, we both are sitting, if having infectious disease to one, so other person will be immediately catch the disease, and there is direct and immediate transfer of the microorganisms or the agents from the host or the reservoir. So in this session we have tried to clear the concept of transmission of the disease, the concept of agent, host, and the environment, and how they interact with each other and can lead to the disease. I thank you, madam, for discussion on the topic, and thank you, everyone.